I never forget that day, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what that guy name is. I don't know what that representative name is. I know he's an older guy with a bald head, kind of bright-skinned African American, and he always complains about the civil rights in Selma and the Bloody Sunday. He always complains about it, and he said somebody got to pay for it. They did me wrong, you know what I'm saying? They beat me up, something like that. And one time he came down to Montgomery, and Chief Murphy was the police chief. And he was like, man, quit crying about it. Quit bitching. Damn. And he was just up there crying, and he kept boo-hooing. He said, hey, just shut up. And he took his badge off, and he slapped his badge on his chest. He's like, you want to be the chief? You want to be the police chief for a day? Just quit bitching and crying. Here. And he slapped that badge on his chest. And he stopped crying, lady. And he wiped those tears with the sleeve of his sweater. And I'll never forget that day. And they made the front page of the Montgomery Advertiser. Like, man, just quit bitching. Damn. Quit crying. Does that make you feel better? And he put that police badge on his chest that day. And he stopped crying, lady. But just that next day, he was in Atlanta crying again. You know what I'm saying? But I tell you, lady, when you realize that, you know what I'm saying? Why did he just take his police badge? I think this is what he should have told him. Anytime you have a need to cry, anytime you get sad, take this police badge out of your wallet and put it on your chest. If you go to Atlanta, if you go upstate, if you go to New York, if you go to Canada, don't never forget to pull it out like a pacifier. Anytime you feel the need to cry about Bloody Sunday and the bridge cross, take this out and put it on your chest. You got it. And that's he forgot to tell him. That's how it goes. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, I don't know exactly. I know Todd Strange is in trouble in the city of Montgomery. They got to be in trouble for something. That's the only reason why they talking about Rosa Parks. Ladies. You already know it's more to it than, you know, ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you that you know that there's something else to it, you know that there's something else to it, ladies and gentlemen. It's money is missing from somewhere. And they trying to rob Peter to pay Paul some kind of way. They trying to say that they got to appropriate some of this money for Rosa. You know it's a scam to it. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing about politicians like that. Most politicians, they start off lying later. You know what I mean? They usually start off lying. You got a few politicians that didn't start off lying. You know, just a few of them. But most of them, they've been lying their whole life, lady. Their whole life been a lie. You know what I mean? Everything they do is based off of lies, lady. You know, it's sad, but it's true. And after a while, they get creative with it. They get more creative and creative. Well, if you're looking for truth, you're not gonna find it. You know what I'm saying? And if you say you're gonna coin them as a liar, it's not gonna get them fired. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody knows that's what they do. They know they lie, you know what I mean? They already know that. You know what I'm saying? You can complain about it, you can bitch about it. That's not gonna make them lose their position, and it's not gonna encourage them to stop lying. You know what I'm saying? The only thing you need to be aware of is when to put your money in the bank and when to take it out, and when to go to a different bank. Those are the things you need to know. When to take your money out of the stock market and when to put your money in. You know what I mean? That's the thing. So you have indicators, you know what I'm saying? When politicians do different things and say different things, and when they say they're going to dedicate something to something, that's when you know when you need to try something else. Man. Unless you're going to get up there and speak your piece. Because if you know how to speak your piece, that makes them freeze, ladies. You know what I'm saying? If you tell it, they can't necessarily get on that Ponzi scheme like they was going to, especially when you tell them the truth. We say, man, I think he's telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? They can't do what they was going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too apparent that that's what they doing. You know what I'm saying? And nevertheless, man. But like the guy said, he said, Coronado Todd Strange is an old man. Yeah, a whole lot of people is old, though. You know? Everybody I know is an old man. I don't know anybody that's not an old man, like, you know. And nevertheless, that's not an excuse. You know. But it's sad that they still to the point where people have to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? You You know, you hate for him to go to jail like that, you know what I'm saying? But you know, Don Siegelman, he went to jail, you know what I'm saying? Bob Riley almost went to jail, but he was able to successfully do what he did and hide. Why do Alabama governors have to hide after they quit? You don't never see them no more. Ladies and gentlemen, ain't that weird? You haven't seen Bob Riley since. I'm talking about you haven't seen him nowhere. He haven't been nowhere on TV. They don't know where he lives. They don't even say nothing about him no more. That's sad, ladies. The only governor you hear about that used to be a governor is Don Siegelman, because he said that they locked him up for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you, that's sad though. As a politician, if you don't do something, then they're gonna lock you up. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's the bad thing about being a politician in the state of Alabama. You have to do something wrong. You know what I'm saying? At least one thing. You know what I'm saying? You got to do something wrong. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, they're gonna lock you up for conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. You know what I'm saying? Because they, you know, that's why they killed Jesus, ladies. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't know if Jesus was a real human being. You know, it might have been a fairy tale. I don't know. But it was a damn good fairy tale, because he didn't do nothing wrong, and they was mad because he was around all those government officials. You know, he was around those Jews in the Sanhedrin. He was around King Herod and all those people, and Pilate, and you know, the pontiff and all them folks. And them folks, those drive-by media and those voters, they were saying they wanted somebody to kill him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even do nothing. They had voted to kill him. You know what I'm saying? They was just mad at him. And like the court got together, like, what did he do? They couldn't even find nothing that he did. You know what I'm saying? But the people was just furious, man. They was furious that it was somebody that had a way to do things that they could agree with. But they wanted to use they wanted to use his system, but they wanted to kill him though. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's sad that that's the way that they think, you know what I'm saying? But it's true that Don Siegelman might not have done anything wrong, and that was his mistake. That's what he did wrong, that he didn't do anything wrong, you know what I'm saying? Now, if Jesus would have did something wrong, he'd still be alive, you know what I'm saying? If he had made some mistakes, if he had got a little gangster, he'd still be around this day, ladies and gentlemen. He would have wrote some more gospels, and I'll probably rap CD. You know, it probably would have went mainstream. He probably would have been like Michael Jackson or something like that eventually. Or Flo Rida or somebody like that. But because he was Honest Abe, you know what I'm saying, they got mad at him. Sad, but it's true, ladies. You know, like I said, and I do talk like this because if my girlfriends know, they know that I'm on the way, you know what I'm saying? This is gonna be a girlfriend night. You know what I'm saying? Because all that music and stuff, it's a deterrent, you know what I'm saying? Girls that like to make out, they don't like listen to all that bebop and hip hop. They just don't, lady. It's not something you can really make. You can smash a girl listen to some hip hop, but you can't really make out all night unless you just nuts though, you know what I mean? It's just the atmosphere it's not conducive to making out all night. You know what I mean? All that boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, lady, I tell you, a lot of these women, they by themselves. And guess what? Valentine's Day, I'm gonna get my Valentine thing together soon. Cause I'm not gonna be talking about no civil rights and no roses. I'm not gonna be like Ty Strange trying to make every day a civil rights day because he's pressed for money. Cause that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna say, man, you got February to do all that you want to do. You know what I mean? But he gonna mess up your Christmas. You know what I'm saying? He gonna mess up Christmas for you. You know what I mean? He finna mess it up, bro. Why? Because he needs a distraction for some reason. I don't know why. You know, I wouldn't. If I was the mayor right now, I would just say it. Okay, when civil rights get around here and the anniversary of the Boyce boycott, we're going to make it better than what it was last time. We're going to invest way more money and invite every state to it. I wouldn't say instead of Christmas, let's do Rosa Parks. Man, that don't sound right. Instead of the first day of Christmas, what you let you to me? Man, please, man. On the first day of Christmas, my children said to me, and a Boy Scout and a Boy Scout and a sit into. Come on, man. You know, on the first day of Christmas, your true love didn't see you Rosa Parks boycotting the bus lane. Yeah. You know that just ain't right, Ty Strange. You know, and for you to intervene into the most sacred holiday as we know it, you know what I'm saying? You know, Christmas is that sacred holiday. They give you all those days to go get somebody something somebody you love, to give them something nice all that time.